You water it. You feed it. You spend your Saturday morning pushing a mower across it in straight, satisfying lines. And it still looks patchy, thin, and tired by August. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. A lawn that struggles usually isn't being killed by disease or drought or bad luck. More often, it's being slowly wrecked by the mowing itself. The good news is that every mistake on this list is free to fix. You don't need new equipment, you don't need expensive products, you just need to change how you cut. These are 7 mowing mistakes quietly ruining your lawn, starting with the one almost everybody gets wrong, and building to the one that surprises people who've been mowing for 30 years. Let's start with the one you can probably see in your own yard right now, and that's cutting your grass too short. I get why people do it. If you scalp the lawn down to the dirt, you don't have to mow again for a while. It feels efficient. You're getting more days out of every cut. The problem is that you're starving the plant to save yourself a weekend. Here's what's actually happening. Those green blades aren't just the part you trim off, they're the engine. That's where the grass does its photosynthesis, where it turns sunlight into the energy it uses to grow roots and fight off weeds. When you cut it down to a stub, you're not giving it a fresh start. You're removing most of its ability to feed itself. And it gets worse because once you've shaved the lawn down, sunlight hits the soil directly. That's an open invitation for weed seeds. Crabgrass in particular loves a short, exposed lawn because now it can germinate in all that warm, sunlit dirt your grass used to shade. So the shorter you cut, the more you mow and the more weeds you fight. You've created the exact problem you were trying to avoid. The fix is simple. Know your grass type and respect its height. Cool season grasses like fescue, bluegrass and ryegrass want to live around 3 to 4 inches tall. Warm season grasses like Bermuda and zoysia can go shorter, but even they have a limit. When in doubt, leave it longer than feels natural. A taller lawn shades its own roots, holds moisture, and crowds out weeds before they ever get started. Which brings us to a mistake that hides in plain sight, because the tool doing the damage is the one in your hands every single week. The next one is mowing with a dull blade, and this one is sneaky, because the lawn looks fine the moment you finish. The grass is short, the lines are clean, you put the mower away feeling good. Then a day or two later, the whole yard takes on this dull, brownish, slightly grey cast, and you can't figure out why. A sharp blade slices the grass cleanly, like a knife through a tomato. A dull blade doesn't cut at all. It tears, it beats the top of each blade until it rips, leaving a ragged, frayed wound instead of a clean edge. And if you crouch down and actually look at the tips the day after you mow, you'll see it. Instead of a clean green cut, the ends are white, shredded, and split. Why does that matter? A couple of reasons. First, that frayed tip dries out and turns brown, which is the haze you're seeing across the lawn. Second, and this is the bigger one, a torn blade of grass is a wide open door for disease. Fungal infections get into the plant through those ragged wounds far more easily than through a clean cut. So a dull blade doesn't just make your lawn look tired, it makes it sick. The fix costs you almost nothing. Sharpen your mower blade 2 or 3 times during the growing season, or roughly every 20 to 25 hours of mowing. You can do it yourself with a file or drop it at a shop for a few bucks. Honestly, most people have never sharpened theirs once. If that's you, that single change will make a visible difference in your next 2 mows. Now, even with a sharp blade and the right height, there's a third mistake that undoes both of them in one pass. And that brings us to taking off too much at once. There's an old rule in lawn care called the 1/3 rule, and it's one of the few rules worth memorizing. Never remove more than 1/3 of the grass height in a single mow. If your grass is 6 inches tall, you take it down to 4, not down to 2. Here's why people break it. Life gets busy. You skip a week, maybe 2, and suddenly the lawn looks like a hayfield. So you set the deck low and you mow it all off in one brutal pass to get back to normal. It feels like you're fixing the problem. You're actually doing the opposite. When you remove that much of the plant at once, you shock it. The grass loses its food factory and its root depth in a single afternoon, and it goes into survival mode. It turns yellow, it stops growing for a week or two while it recovers, and during that recovery, it's wide open to weeds and heat stress. You wanted a fresh, clean lawn. What you got was a stressed one. So if you've let it get long, don't try to win it all back in one cut. Mow it down by a third, wait 3 or 4 days, then mow it again. Step it down in stages. It takes an extra 10 minutes spread across the week, and it's the difference between a lawn that bounces back and a lawn that sulks for a month. And honestly, mowing by the calendar is a big reason people end up here in the first place. Don't mow because it's Saturday. Mow because the grass has hit the height where cutting it removes a third. Some weeks that's twice. In the heat of summer, it might be every 12 days. Let the lawn tell you, not the schedule. Okay, the next one is where this list gets a little controversial because it goes against something almost everyone does on autopilot. Here it is. Bagging your clippings. Every time you mow, you snap on the bag, you fill it up, you haul it to the curb, and you feel like you've cleaned up after yourself. And in doing that, you are throwing away the single best, completely free fertilizer your lawn will ever get. Grass clippings are mostly water, and they're loaded with nitrogen, which is the exact nutrient you pay for in a bag of lawn food. When you leave those clippings on the lawn, they break down within a few days and feed that nitrogen right back into the soil. Do it all season, and you can cut your fertilizer needs significantly just by leaving the clippings where they fall. This even has a name. It's called grass cycling, and it's one of the few things in lawn care that's both less work and better results. Now I already know the objection, because everyone has the same one. Doesn't leaving clippings cause thatch? Thatch being that spongy brown layer that builds up and chokes the lawn. And the answer is no. This is the most stubborn myth in lawn care. Thatch is made of tough roots and stems that break down slowly. Grass clippings are soft and watery and decompose almost immediately. They are not the same thing, and clippings have never been the cause of a thatch problem. There are 2 fair exceptions. If the grass is soaking wet, or if you let it get so long that you're cutting off 6 inches and leaving thick clumps, then yes, bag it, because those mats can smother the lawn underneath. But for a normal mow on dry grass at the right height, leave the clippings. Your lawn eats them, and you save yourself the haul to the curb. So that's the most argued one out of the way. The next mistake is the most invisible, because the damage builds up so slowly you never notice it happening. This next one is mowing in the exact same pattern every single time. You probably have a route. Most of us do. You start in the same corner, you go the same direction, you make the same turns, week after week, because it's efficient and you don't have to think about it. But your lawn is keeping score. 2 things go wrong. First, ruts. Your mower's wheels roll over the same lines every week, and over a season that repeated weight compacts the soil into shallow tracks. Compacted soil drains poorly and grows weak grass, so those lines slowly turn into thin, stressed stripes running across your yard. Second, and this is the subtle one, grass develops what's called grain. If you always cut in the same direction, the grass starts leaning that way permanently, the same way carpet leans when you vacuum it one way. Leaning grass gets cut unevenly because the mower lays it flat instead of slicing it upright, and you end up with a lawn that looks ragged no matter how careful you are. The fix is the easiest one on this entire list. Just change direction. Mow north to south one week, east to west the next, then try the diagonals. Rotating your pattern keeps the grass growing straight up, spreads the wheel wear around so no rut forms, and as a bonus, it's how golf courses and baseball fields get those clean striping patterns. Same effort, better lawn, and it looks sharper too. Now, the next mistake is one people make for the most understandable reason of all. They make it because of the weather, and that's mowing wet grass. It rained this morning. Well, there's still dew on the lawn, but it's the only window you've got before the week gets busy, so you push through and mow it anyway. I understand the impulse. It almost never works out. Wet grass behaves completely differently from dry grass. The blades are heavy and they lie flat, so your mower flattens them instead of cutting them, and you get an uneven, scalped, choppy result. The clippings don't scatter either. They stick together in thick, wet clumps that drop onto the lawn and smother the grass underneath, leaving brown, dead patches a few days later. They also pack into the underside of your mower deck and clog it, which strains the engine and dulls the blade. And here's the one that really matters. Most lawn diseases are fungal, and fungus spreads in moisture. When you roll a mower across a wet lawn, you're picking up fungal spores on the wheels and the blade and smearing them across every inch of grass you touch. You can take one small patch of disease and spread it across the whole yard in 20 minutes. So wait for it to dry. Mid-morning is usually ideal, after the dew has burned off but before the afternoon heat. If you absolutely have to mow and the grass is just slightly damp, at least raise your cutting height and go slow. But if it's genuinely wet, the best thing you can do for your lawn is leave the mower in the garage. Which brings us to the last mistake, and it's the one that ties this whole list together, because the right way to mow isn't actually a fixed rule at all. It's mowing the same way all year round. Everything we've covered so far, the height, the frequency, all of it. Most people lock in once in spring and never touch again. They find a deck setting in April and ride it straight through to October. And that's the mistake, because the lawn's needs change completely as the seasons turn. Think about summer. When it's hot and dry and your grass is stressed, the worst thing you can do is cut it short. Short grass means exposed soil that bakes in the sun and loses moisture fast, and shallow roots that can't reach water deep down. In the heat of summer, you want to raise your mowing height, not lower it. Taller grass shades its own soil, keeps the roots cooler, holds water longer, and rides out a drought far better than a buzz cut ever will. So when the temperature climbs, the deck goes up. There's a smaller version of this too, the time of day. Mowing at high noon when it's 90 degrees stresses an already stressed lawn, on top of being miserable for you. Cut in the cooler morning or the early evening, and you give the grass a gentler window to recover. And that's really the thread running through all 7 of these. The right height isn't one number. The right frequency isn't one schedule. The right pattern isn't one route. A good lawn comes from paying attention and adjusting, not from setting the mower once and running it on autopilot every Saturday until fall. So before I let you go, here's the thing that surprised me most when I actually started paying attention to this. Out of everything that happens to a lawn over a year, the watering, the feeding, the weeding, the single highest impact thing you do to it is mow it. It's the thing you do most often, with the most direct contact, and for most people, it's the thing they think about least. Fix your mowing and you fix problems you've been blaming on the weather, on your soil, on bad seed, for years. So here's my honest question for you, and I'm curious where you land. The clippings one. Are you a bagger or a leave it on the lawn person? Because I know that one splits a room, and a lot of people are absolutely convinced bagging is the responsible, tidy, correct choice. After everything we just went through, do you think you'll change it? Tell me down in the comments and tell me which of these 7 you were guilty of, because I'll be honest, I was doing at least 3 of them for years. If this made you look at your own lawn a little differently, you're exactly the kind of person who'd get a lot out of the next one, where I break down the watering mistakes that quietly do just as much damage as the mowing ones. It's on screen right now. Go fix your lawn.